Earlier today, I spoke to Ms. Haskel. Sharren Haskel is a member of parliament. She's a combat soldier turned member of parliament at the Knesset here in Israel. And her opinion is that instead of just targeting the Hamas or the Hezbollah, where Israel faces terror at multiple fronts, you need to cut off the head of that snake, as she put it. And she's laid the blame entirely and squarely on Iran. We get you more in excerpts of that conversation that I had with that young member of parliament. Ma'am, what are your expectations of world leaders who are in Israel? What's the message that they are trying to send, and what's Israel trying to send across?
Well, first of all, I would like to thank all those leaders of the free world, of democracies, who are coming to stand beside Israel. And the main message that needs to come out of this is that this is a vicious attack on the values that we believe in. That this war is not just a war between Hamas and Israel. It's not just a war between Iran, who it's Hamas is its proxies, and between Israel, but this is an attack of radical Islam, of extremism on the values that we believe in, values of freedom, liberty, freedom of religion, equality, democracy, all of those shared values that we believe in. This is a war on that, on the sanctity of life.
Now, you said this is a war between radical terror and free world and democracy, but in several countries across the Middle East now, in West Asia, you have tensions that are rising and protests against Israel. You can hear the artillery going off behind me. This anger against Israel is, according to Palestinian authorities, 470 people were massacred in what they call is an Israeli missile strike, and artillery continues to go off behind us at the Gaza Strip, ma'am.
Well, let's make it clear. The Palestinians are on siege by Hamas. Hamas is targeting not just Israeli children, but also Palestinian children. They are sending rockets and are hiding behind dense population in schools, in hospitals, in mosques. And so by that, they are actually putting a human shield of children in front of them. What happened, the tragedy that happened in the hospital, was made by the Islamic Jihad. They have killed, by their sources, almost 500 children because they set their rocket launchers in the cemetery behind the hospital. We have every proof by the IDF, but not just, also independent investigations of the Pentagon and other agency who shows that a faulty missile of the Islamic Jihad had hit this hospital. And so the world needs to understand the Hamas is sending propaganda, and they're not just targeting Israeli children, but also Palestinian children. Gaza needs to be freed of Hamas. It needs to be freed from Hamas because they cannot be our neighbors. This is ISIS. This is Al-Qaeda sitting on our borders. And the and butchering that they have done in the
I'm reporting from that border right now. I'm reporting from that border right now, and we can hear the artillery go off, the rockets and the missiles hit some of these strongholds of the Hamas, as Israeli army puts it, and the frequency is increasing behind me. But what about the collateral damage? The world is alarmed by the collateral damage, with civilians also coming in the line of fire, Ms. Haskel.
I'm sorry, Garav, but you really asked me this question. What about the Israeli collateral damage? What about 1,500 Israelis who were butchered? Children, babies that were beheaded, entire family tied down and burnt down, entire families. A baby that was cut out of their mother's womb and shot. A 6-month-old baby that was shot in the hand of his father. A girl as young as 13 years old that was raped in front of her entire family and then murdered. What about that collateral damage? What about Israelis? We need to live here safely. This is a war that's going to determine whether us Israelis can actually live here in Israel Don't talk to me about the collateral damage. Unfortunately, they are hostages of Hamas as well. And once Gaza is going to be liberated from Hamas, then Hamas cannot use them as a human shield as well. This is our mission, and we will not stop until we bring back the security and the safety of our citizens. This is our mission, and we have to concentrate on that.
Ma'am, explain how will Gaza be liberated of Hamas when Hamas, as you say, are hiding behind civilians? When Hamas is in buildings, will ground troops have to be committed, because those ground troops will then be in the line of Hamas fire? Whether Hamas has home advantage, hiding in buildings behind civilians, targeting your tanks and your armored personal carriers. So the situation will remain extremely tense for you in the days ahead. What will happen? Will ground troops be sent in, and when?
Well, we understand the risks, but we have to make sure that we completely eliminate all of their infrastructure, their economical, the military, the communication one. We have to make sure that there isn't any kind of facility of Hamas that stays. And we understand the danger in that. But we have a strong army. We have one of the best army in the world. And I trust them, because their mission is a mission of light against the darkness. Their mission is to maintain and to keep us safe. Their mission is to guard freedom and liberty. And this Jewish nation, who's the only democracy in the Middle East, this is our home. This is our homeland. It's been like that for thousands of years. And so I believe that God is on our side, and our troops are well trained, and they are the best army. They understand what had happened in recent years, and their morals is what's going to lead them. And so I count on them.
You can hear the small arms fire. You can hear the machine guns behind me. You can hear the artillery go off behind me, where we are in southern Israel at this point of time. We are very close to the Gaza Strip. But is your priority first to get back the hostages, or is your priority to go in and demolish or decimate Hamas? Because that could also mean that those 200 hostages, their lives would further be in danger. Ms. Haskell.
We understand, but their lives are in danger at this moment as well. And we will do anything in our capability of bringing them back safe and sound to their home. But at the same time, we have to hit Hamas hard, and we will not stop until we eliminate it.
Okay. So, is the priority to bring back the hostages first, or is the priority to decimate Hamas first? Will ground forces be committed sooner than expected? Is that what is going to happen? As we see plumes of smoke rise behind me, for the benefit of our viewers, I want to show you these images. Plumes of smoke rising behind me here that's the Gaza Strip, and there you see the massive cloud of smoke that rises. This is the Israeli army that's targeting the stronghold of Hamas. That's what we are being told. We're very close to the Gaza Strip. But Ms. Haskell, what do you see? What's the road ahead as far as Israel is concerned? Committing ground troops first, or bringing hostages home first?
Well, you're speaking about that smoke that you see behind you, but I have a question for you. Have you visited Be'eri or Kfar Aza?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
I have
So
visited
I was there
Kibbutz
2
Be'eri,
days
and we are
ago.
on our way to Kfar Aza, and I have seen the devastation. I've seen the destruction of Israeli civilians by Hamas
So
terrorists.
I saw
No
their
doubt they need
smoke
to be
as
punished. But go on, ma'am.
so we've seen that smoke as well. We've seen burnt houses, burnt beds where entire families were tied down and burnt alive. The military was telling us how they ran from one fire to another because Hamas have piled up bodies and lit them on fire in order to eliminate any kind of evidence. And they were running from fire to fire, trying to take it down in order to have some remain to be able to identify those bodies. These are the images of smoke that I have in my mind when I think of what is happening now and that war that we are having at the moment. We have a vicious enemy that has no mercy. It has no mercy on Israelis, and it has no mercy on Palestinians. If they had any mercy, they would immediately surrender and bring back all of our hostages.
Ma'am, in India, we are victims of Pakistan's state-sponsored radical Islamist terror, represented by terrorist organizations like Lashkar-e-Taiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, Hizbul Mujahideen, and these terrorists are when you kill a terrorist, it's like pruning the branches or leaves of a terror tree with roots in Pakistan, funded by Pakistan Army and ISI. As far as Hamas or Hezbollah are concerned, even if you kill these terrorists, they're like leaves and branches of the terror tree. Where are the roots of this tree of terror that targets the people of Israel?
So the roots of this terror lays in Iran, that Iran is the head of the snake. Iran has proxies all around the world that is supporting and financing those terror organizations. Iran is fully controlling and financing Hamas. They're financing Hezbollah. They have their troops in Yemen, in Iraq, in Syria. They are the biggest instigator of terror and violence in the Middle East. And so they are the root of the problem. Now, we know that Iran is behind this vicious attack. They assisted in planning it, they financed it, and they even had troops on the ground. If you look on some of the social media that was spread when they celebrated these massacres, sometimes you hear these people speaking Farsi as well. Why would they be speaking in Gaza in Farsi? This is only because Iran is set on the ground as well.